Hi everyone, welcome back to MQC Offbroom. Today we're at Emerson. We shook it up a bit, and I'm here with my host Andres.
Hi everybody, welcome back.
And our guest Zach from BU.
Happy to be here, thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course. Let's jump into it. D1 champs this weekend, baby.
Let's go.
Should be a fun little tournament that we have coming up. Just to explain what D1 champs is for those of you that don't follow MQC too much, it's going to be BU versus RPI, and that's a best of 3. Whoever wins that, they're going to go on and face Brandeis in the final. That's also going to be a best of 3. We have up to 6 quad ball games here this weekend.
I'm excited. I love playing quad ball. 6 is a lot, but it's a story. 6 games in a day. That'll be a hell of a story.
Yeah, absolutely. Personally, I'm looking forward just to have the ability to be able to play at Brandeis. This is on Brandeis' home field, which I'm really excited about. I know I've invited a lot of people. The whole team's invited a lot of people.
Nice.
I don't know if anyone remembers, but this is the field where we managed to have an entire pep band come and play.
Yeah.
I'm ready for Brandeis to bring the noise a little bit.
I am very excited to play on Brandeis' good field and not their bad field. Because that Brandeis front field is possibly one of the scariest fields to play on with cleats.
Yeah.
That's an ankle breaker right there.
Yeah. No, someone literally broke their ankle last year. So what do we think about the format overall? What are some thoughts on how we choose our D1 winner here? I know it's been kind of tossed around that there might be some other ways of going about it.
So I'm gonna start with the positive. I love the fact that D1 and D2 is always cycling. I love the fact that we're always having someone go down to D2 and we're having someone come up to D1. I think that's great for MQC. I think it keeps things very fresh. For the D1 champs, I understand you gotta have the 1 seed have some sort of advantage. And there are a ton of ways to do that. I'm not sure the right way to do that is have the team that they're about to play be completely gassed after the first set of games. I know BU and I know RPI, those are gonna be some chippy games. That's gonna be some physical games. And whichever team is coming out of that, it's very, very unlikely they're coming out of that at 100% or even 90%. And I think if you really want those final championship games to be these big, spectacular peak of the season games, you really want both teams to be as good as possible at their best. There are ways to do that. You could just have 1 day in between. Maybe instead of having it be just the advantage being the same day, you could have Brandeis only need to win 2 games and the other team need to win 3 games. There are ways to give Brandeis an advantage that aren't making the other team tired beforehand.
Yeah, or even some sort of round robin play. I will say on that tiredness part, I remember during my first year playing for Brandeis, we had D2 championships. Played UVM in that first round, in the round that BU and RPI are playing. Won 2 out of our 3, won the first 2, and then we played Middlebury, who had that bye. They showed up for 1 game, they forfeited the second. So I do think it's possible.
It's definitely possible. It's definitely possible. And I think even that first game in the second round, that team that's played 2 games is gonna come in hard. They're gonna come in having played 2 games, feeling confident, having just won, and they're gonna play as hard as possible that first game.
That's my biggest thing. I think if you want to take a game, whoever is coming out of that BU RPI game, if you want to take a game, that first game might be your best bet.
Yeah, definitely.
Just because you're gonna be on fire, you're gonna be ready to go, and Brandeis is they're just gonna be waiting. They're not gonna be fully as hyped up and quad ball ready as whoever wins that first matchup. So
yeah, totally. I think there's a worry that will come out flat a little bit. I think the biggest concern is injury. When you play that many games in one day, you get injured when you play that many games in one day. I think there's some statistics that show after 4 games there's a significant injury risk. That's why teams try so hard to get that bye for day 2 of nationals, because then they only have to play 3 games max on day 2, and that's a really big deal. So obviously making sure hopefully no one's getting injured at these, but preventing injury risks through how we play these games is really important too, because it's BU and RPI, they're gonna be button heads.
Yeah, these are some physical teams that are playing this Saturday.
Yeah, as it should be, in the apex of the sport.
And one of those things that can help you as the day goes on is depth. If you have a full team, if you're 15 to 18 deep, then you're gonna have more people rested, more people healthier than if you have a smaller roster.
Totally.
And that could be the difference between winning 2 out of 3 the first round and playing Brandeis with all you have or not. So
Yeah, I absolutely agree.
Yeah, I know BU is going to try to get as close to that 21 max as possible.
Yeah, and I'm a little worried because I think we've heard some reports that RPI is coming in a little bit short.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
So it should be interesting.
Yeah.
One notable player that they will be missing is, of course, Ben Fothrup. They will not have keeper Ben Fothrup at these games.
That is shocking.
Yeah, which is a bit of a monumental loss for that RPI.
That's going to change the way they have to play the game. Their offense starts with Ben. We're going to see a different type of RPI playing on Saturday.
And speaking of Ben, we're going to throw it off to our correspondent in the field, the one, the only, the Daniel Baradat. We have a new little segment going on. So, yeah, Daniel, take it away.
Hello and welcome to On the Sideline. I'm your host and Offbroom's offsite correspondent, Emerson keeper Daniel Baradat. Today I sat down with players from each of the three teams competing in this weekend's D1 Bowl: Ben Fothrup from RPI, Molly French from BU, and Eli Fighter from Brandeis. Let's get into it. I'm here with Ben Fothrup, third-year keeper for RPI University. Hey, Ben, how you doing?
I'm doing great.
All right, looking forward to this weekend. We have the D1 Bowl Series, BU RPI Best of 3 series to move on to play Brandeis. How's RPI feeling heading into this weekend?
Yeah, I think RPI is feeling good, especially coming off of a pretty solid weekend at the Howard County qualifier event. We played some good games. We only ended up losing one to UVA. That one was frustrating, but yeah, we played really well. All of our problems that we've had this season have been kind of been getting fixed as of recently, and I think we're feeling pretty comfortable moving into these bowl games. I think it'll be tough to play so many games, though, especially I think we might have a little bit of a short roster.
Yeah, short roster, potentially up to 6 games. Well, you mentioned the problems that that you think you were like that your team was fixing at Howard County. Could you expand on that?
We were having problems mainly on our offense, with just kind of getting the ball to move around a bit more fluidly and like kind of using more of our offensive threats instead of just trying to do the same thing every time. And I think that really got showcased in especially our Harvard game. I think that was our best offense that whole time. I know Harvard was down a bunch of players, but it felt like our beaters and our chasers especially were communicating a little bit better, which was one of our biggest problems. So I think that was the biggest fix, was the communication part.
Nice. And looking ahead to this weekend, your series against BU, what are you looking to do against a team like BU?
I think BU honestly has a lot to do with how our beaters stack up, honestly, because I think our chasers match up pretty well against BU's, especially in the shapes that they play, both on offense, on defense. If we can come in with a solid beater presence, that those games should be playing in our favor. I think the hot take here is that, or I guess the insider info here is that I'm not rostered. So our starting keeper is going to be gone, which is pretty brutal. But Sammy, our second line keeper, he's been getting a lot better. So I trust him to fill my spot and see if he can get us some goals.
All right, yeah. And then how about if you guys beat BU, moving on to Brandeis? What's the game plan there?
I think after, especially if we go to 3 games against BU, it'll be pretty brutal moving on to Brandeis because they're going to be fresh. So that's a little disappointing. I hate tournament design, but yeah, I think we can contend with a team like that. I think it'll definitely be tough missing me, but that's another game where if we can control the beater game and try to keep dodgeballs a little bit more, that we have competed with them in the past. I know we played a game recently, our most recent game against them, we beat them on quaffle points, and then they ended up catching and beating us. Yeah, I think that's a reachable game for us, but they definitely have a lot of players, which is the tough part, especially being fresh.
Yeah. Look to ride the hot streak coming off a win against BU.
Yeah,
because sometimes the team that's more tired is also the team that's a little more locked in.
Yeah.
You mentioned your keeper sub Sammy and your beaters. Is there any like individual player on your team you want to shout out? Anyone you expect to have a big weekend going forward?
I think I want to shout out Sammy. And he's been especially on defense, he's been getting a lot better. I'm looking to see him make some big hits this weekend. I'm looking to see Aiden Whitaker. He's one of our tall people. He's also a freshman. He missed the Howard County qualifiers because he was on vacation with his family. Boo. But I
Come on,
think
you got to
he'll
be there for
exactly
regionals.
exactly that's what I'm saying. I think he's looking to come back and put some goals on the board to make up for the fact that he missed the tournament. And then obviously our beaters coming out to make an impression. Obviously we have Colin. He's pretty good.
All right, yeah. Colin getting a lot of attention across the league
Yeah.
for coming in and making an impact for your team. How about for I know you won't be playing, but you can kind of speak on behalf of your team. Anyone on BU you want to call out? Anyone that you're specifically looking to try to stop this weekend?
Ian Cargyle. All my homies hate Ian Cargyle. He's not even gonna get a look at the goals this weekend. We're also gonna make him look silly on top hoop. Really just embarrass him. I was the one that made Ian start playing quad ball. I knew him from high school, but
Oh, fantastic!
yeah. But yeah,
so that rivalry runs deep.
yeah, exactly. So Ian, you're cooked. Yeah, and then also Cleo. Let's see how Cleo can do against Colin. I know they have a bit of a feud going on.
That should be a good.
It's always
beater
fun to
matchup.
watch. Yeah.
And then last question. RPI just won a D1 bid to nationals. What would winning the Massachusetts Conference D1 championship mean to the team?
I think it would mean a lot. We won it 2 years ago when I was a freshman. It was nice to have that trophy for us, and we had a kind of a slow season last year, so I think winning this season would be a good confidence boost for the program, maybe help get the word out for recruitment.
Ben, thank you so much for meeting with me, and best of luck this weekend.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you for that, Daniel, and interesting stuff from Ben. What do we think? I mean, you're playing him.
Big takeaway, Ben's not going to be there.
Yeah.
That's big. I mean, I've watched some film. They definitely look good at Howard County. They look good against Brandeis. I watched that game. Ben starts that offense, and I watched some of their other keeper. He's good, but he's new. It's going to be interesting.
Yeah, that was like the advantage of RPI that I think they had coming into this game is they have chaser experience at the very least. But I'll also go out on a limb and say I think RPI's chasers are better than BU's chasers. I think their chasing core, not only are they more experienced, but the names that they have on that team are more recognizable, I think, also because of their gameplay. There's no one on BU that makes me more scared of having to make a tackle on hoops than Ad, to be honest. But no, Ben really cuts into that. Really cuts into that.
I'll say on the topic of chasers as well, no one strikes more fear into me than Anson Decker. Trying to tackle Anson Decker in the open field. There's going to be a rare card at Nationals, and it's me on the ground behind Anson Decker after a failed tackle.
Look forward to that one.
Hopefully we see it.
Yeah, and then I think in the beater game as well, because that's kind of the other side of this coin. I do think that is where BU has the clear advantage. And I don't necessarily, although Cleo is very good, and you could just make the argument Cleo is a better beater. I don't know if it's so much because of that. I think it's because they don't have the depth at beater.
Absolutely.
And Colin Gaines might be good, and Mina Mall might be good, but when they play 75% of possessions in a game, that doesn't help them. Yeah. That doesn't help RPI. It makes it far more difficult for them, I think.
So I talked to Cleo a little bit before this, a little behind the scenes. She was actually the guest that's supposed to be on here. Instead of me, timing things didn't work out. Very happy to be here. But I wanted to get some of her takes so I could bring them in here as well. She had nothing but good things to say about Mina. She really likes how Mina plays. But she also said their other beaters are pretty new. They don't have the experience that Colin and Mina have. I think BU is going to have a really good second line against RPI. I think BU's second line and RPI's second lines, BU matches up really well in that case. And little spoiler, little hint, we've got someone who hasn't been there in a while coming for these RPI Brandeis games that might boost our beating line a little
Kai
bit.
Suyama. Is it Kai? Is Kai going to do
it might be Kai. It might be Kai. It might be someone else. We'll see. But we got a little bit of an X factor coming into this game that we're excited to see.
Okay. You bring in
That's
X factors.
Cool.
That's an interesting one.
That's cool. I don't even think BU needs an X factor.
No, I don't think so either. I think our depth really speaks for itself.
Ben talked about what this would mean to an RPI program that, they won it 2 years ago, but they won it with a completely different roster. And they have a lot of changes since then. I will say they're always going to be in games because they always have a chance to catch.
Yeah.
You give Ad 10 seconds and Ad can catch. And that's something really special that they can always drag 35 points out of nowhere. And that's not nothing in any way. I don't see this game being very, very close, especially with the short roster RPI.
Yeah, I definitely agree with the Ad factor. Ad will get you a catch when you need it. I mean, that could change a game, but we'll see. Obviously, if a fine catch even matters at the end of the game.
And I'm gonna save a little bit of my BU chaser talk. Obviously, I'm a little biased, but I'm gonna save that for a little bit later. For Ad, I will say I was watching some film. No other player have I ever seen in the chasing game has a beater on the other team run basically to half court to beat them out. That's how scary Ad is on the offense.
Yeah.
Teams will almost just lose a dodgeball to get him out of the play. And it doesn't get talked about.
It's worse without Ben.
Yeah.
Because now that Ben is gone, they can do that and not have to worry about the up top shot because the Ad plays so much more behind. And I know Brandeis personally, we've been prepping for if we do see RPI, we have something to throw out. And I think most teams do have some sort of neutralizer because that's what it requires.
Absolutely.
To play a player like Ad. Yeah. Okay, let's throw it out to Molly and Daniel for our next set of interviews.
I am here with BU fourth-year beater, Molly French, going into the D1 bracket for the D1 championship for the Massachusetts Conference this weekend. Molly, hi, how are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm great. I'm very excited to talk about this weekend. First of all, BU just won a D1 bid to nationals. Congratulations. But first, you got to run through the gauntlet of D1 teams in Massachusetts this weekend. How is your team feeling going into this weekend? What are you looking forward to in your series against RPI and potentially maybe Brandeis?
We're always super psyched to play RPI. It's a really good matchup. We've played them a couple times this year. It's been back and forth. We dominated the last one. I think at least we won by, oh gosh, it was in November, but I think we won by 5. And we've only gotten so much better since then. So I think we can definitely take them if it comes to that. When it comes to that, Brandeis is definitely a little bit trickier than RPI. What with their incredible depth and team size. I definitely think we're focused on RPI first, beating RPI. We love to beat RPI.
Excellent. So looking forward to the RPI series. Obviously, you beat them in your last matchup, but it was a while ago. If you can, what's BU's game plan specifically for playing RPI?
I mean, I think playing our game, shutting down their fast breaks, and keeping them to half courts, and we can definitely dominate them in the beater game. Obviously, our top pair of Cleo and Will is going to dominate most people in the MQC and probably a lot across USQ as well. But we have a lot of really great depth as well. So being able to use our sort of stability to sort of shut them down usually does the trick.
Awesome. What's one player that we should look out for on your team? What's one player that you think's really going to step up in this series?
Can I pick one beater and one chaser?
Absolutely.
Beaters, I mean, this is a pretty intuitive answer, but Cleo Brooks obviously has become an amazing player over the past few years, and especially this year has been playing some really big minutes, especially at regionals. Her minutes had to go up because I was out, and she handled that amazingly. She just dominates the field. Her understanding of the game is incredible. Her athleticism of the game is incredible. And she works really well with her beater partners. Chaser wise, this one's also pretty intuitive, but Evan Sharaba, he's a goal scoring machine. He's only a sophomore, but he's really learned how to read the field really well and work with his chaser teammates. And so those two things put together, plus obviously his dunks and fast breaks, is very productive for us. I'm
never a fan of playing against Evan. As I told him at regionals, it never feels good to be the second best 39 on the field. Because he is the best.
He is incredible to watch, especially as a sophomore. And then one position that I forgot about until just now is seekers. We had our freshman chaser Prim. I do not remember their number off the top of my head, but they started seeking for us at regionals. They had never played the position before. They'd done a couple minutes at practice, but they played absolutely phenomenal at regionals and had a couple of moments where they were able to even touch the snitch, the ball. While we did have them mostly on defensive seeking, so there wasn't a whole lot of opportunity to see them try to catch. They did absolutely phenomenal for someone who had never played before. And I think they're going to be our starting seeker moving forward. So that's just another player to watch and see how they've grown, even just in the past couple of weeks. So definitely something to keep an eye out for is Prim this weekend.
Wow, nice. That's one thing I really like about seekers in quad ball is that it allows it's a one person position and it's sort of archaic. So it allows one person, usually a freshman or someone who doesn't do it before, to have like a hero moment and in a big spot.
Yes, and especially with defensive seeking, you're not really getting that hero moment, but Prim really just stuck to it and went out there and stuck with it the whole time, and it was so huge for us. And even though they didn't have that big hero moment, it made such a big difference. And to see them do that as a freshman who's been playing for a semester and a few weeks, to see them take on that role was really so much fun to watch.
I will contest you on that. I'd say that keeping the other team from catching is as good a hero moment as catching it yourself.
Yes, I agree. Although not as many people will notice it, unfortunately.
True.
But
That one won't go on the stat sheet.
yes.
And then what's one call out or hot take you have for anyone over at RPI or Brandeis?
This has been something that's been disputed on the Reddit, but I would say that we have the best beater pair across all three teams. I would say we have the best beater across all three teams. I know there's been some arguments on the Reddit about Cleo versus Colin, but I would say that Cleo uses her skills so well that she really is so hard to shut down. And Brandeis's strengths definitely lay within their chasers. So Cleo and Will really just are so dominant.
Very cool. And then last question. If you managed to beat RPI and then beat Brandeis, what would a Massachusetts D1 championship mean for BU?
Oh my God, it would be incredible. Our program has been through a couple rough years. We graduated something like 15 players my freshman year. There were maybe 7 returners. So my sophomore year, we had a roster of like maybe 12 people and we were terrible. So to be able to have that change happen so quickly would be such a testament to how much heart and soul people have put into the program over the past few years to really bring us to where we are now.
All right, amazing. Thank you so much, Molly, and best of luck this weekend.
Thank you.
All right, thanks, Molly. Thank you, Daniel, again for another fantastic interview. A lot to talk about there.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thanks for the hot takes, Molly, because that definitely gives us something to say. First of all, we love to beat RPI.
RPI is the games we dream of playing. Those are the games that we go into as hard as possible.
I mean, I think every team has one of those where you literally like you're sending messages in the group chat. Brandeis, my first year, we had a beat RPI message that we would send every time that we would play them. So, no, I get it. I absolutely get it.
Yeah,
it's gonna be an exciting game.
They're great games. They're chippy games. It's gonna be good quad.
One thing that specifically Molly mentioned about kind of limiting one of the strengths of RPI is keeping them in the half court.
Yeah,
I think they're able to do it against RPI, and to be honest, I don't think it's necessary for BU winning these games. And I say that because BU kept, at least the last time we played BU, Brandeis played BU, it was mostly a half court game.
It was.
If I remember that back, and we won. And we won that game. And I think with BU, especially at least myself, I know what you guys are gonna throw out at me. I know that the second I start to go behind, or really any player starts to go behind,
Yeah.
there's going to be Harry yelling in the corner. Harry's going to be saying, Cleo, go, Cleo, now. I think I've come to expect a little bit what's going to happen when we play BU. But yeah, when Molly says Cleo and Will are the best, combo, sure, they might be. But what do you have outside of that offers something different?
I will say in response to this, us playing Brandeis and us playing RPI, you two definitely don't play the same offense. On defense specifically, we're really, really happy with our shot defense. We're really happy with, other than against Ryan. I will say that. Ryan scored a lot of goals against us at regionals.
Just wanted to make sure you knew.
Ryan scored a lot of goals against me at regionals as well, specifically. The last time we played RPI, a big thing that we were able to do was we limited bench shot. Bench shot is great, but we were able to keep it to pretty iffy shots, like not open shots. We were very happy with that. So what I think Molly's talking about there is just making sure we're set on defense. We're not letting Anson get a full head of steam and just run through it. It's not letting Ad make a great running across the field play and just dunking on us. When it comes to things that we can throw out there that maybe people haven't seen, I'm gonna keep it vague. We've got some good chasing stuff that I think a lot of teams haven't seen as much as what we can do. It sucks that the film that we're missing from regionals is our Rutgers game, because I think we played really good in Rutgers. We displayed what we can do in Rutgers. I think, like, if you watch the Brown game, Brown played a great game against us. They had a great strategy against us. We also didn't play our strongest chasing game ever in that game.
Yeah, I think that's true.
When we played CWR, that was a weird game. I mean, CWR is a crazy team. They've got a very interesting defensive stuff. I feel good about our chasing. I feel like we're in a really good spot there. And I think we're going to see it at Champs this Saturday.
And your chasing line does also run deep. There's a lot of depth there too.
Absolutely.
And if RPI is coming into this series with smaller numbers, that's also a difference.
Yeah, definitely.
I like that you're saying that, because I think I have come a little bit to know what to expect when it comes to facing some of these teams, and I think BU is definitely one of them. Evan is a player, Evan Skyraba.
Yeah.
Fantastic player. Evan plays in a way where he's going to run over you, and Brandeis doesn't get run over.
This is true.
And I think last time we played, I was really looking for some of your BU players to develop like a bag, to develop like a set of moves or a signature move, because I think all the best chasers at least have one, or they have something they can go to, something that they know is going to make someone miss. And I didn't really see that out of BU's chasers. And I think it's a little bit of a testament just to how young you guys are.
It's definitely true.
Which leads me to say, I don't think this is the year for this BU team. This is that year where there starts to be some notoriety. No one knew Evan's name before this year.
That's true.
No one knew your name before this year.
Also,
Even Will White, in the beater game, or Clear, or anything like that. So this is a year where there's been a lot of like talk about BU coming up. They need to solidify themselves as like, we're really here to play. There's still another year of development that I think I need to see from this team.
That's fair. That's definitely fair. Yeah, I will say in the chaser game, we're pretty young. I mean, Rejwan, our most experienced chaser by far, and he's the only senior that's maybe here next year, he may not. He's still trying to decide on where he's going to graduate school. We've got kind of HB and Zoe as the main players who have the most experience on our starting lines, and it's great. They bring up the ball in most of our games. They keep us spaced out.
Shout out Zoe.
Shout out Zoe. Shout out HB.
Incredible passer.
They're both working and improving. They both have a good shot now. Unfortunately, we couldn't see it in Howard County because the wind was sending the ball here and there and everywhere. That's something that we're really excited about having in our offense. Like, that's a big addition to our offense, having a shooter up top who can move the ball around really fast. It's going to be a big plus. If we're going to dip into predictions a little bit now, I don't think we're going to beat Brandeis. Honestly, I think we have a shot at taking a game. We can play well against you guys. I don't think we're winning a 2 out of 3. I think we'll beat RPI. I think we'll very, very, very confident in us beating RPI. This year, we're getting better every year, every day. Next year, we're going to be really good. And we're just going to try to make as big a splash as possible, honestly. That's the goal. We're not aiming for beat Creighton in nationals. We're aiming to make a deep run in nationals, show people that we actually are a serious team to beat.
Okay, so why don't we jump into Brandeis? I know we have a very spicy interview with Eli and Daniel, and then we'll get into predictions.
All
right. I am here with Eli Fighter from Brandeis, a fourth-year keeper, seeker extraordinaire, and the captain of the team. Hey, Eli, how you doing?
Hi, Daniel. It's good to see you. I'm good.
Yeah, good to see you too. I'm out here in your hometown while you're all the way across the country.
Yeah. We kind of I'm wishing I was with you right now, seeing the weather, but
Yeah, it is
I'll be back
it's
soon.
sunny 85 degrees out
I
in LA
I
today.
can tell just through the sunlight of your window.
All right, D1 Bowl this weekend. Brandeis, the top seed. How does it feel to be the number one D1 team in Massachusetts right now?
I think it's what we expected out of ourselves this year. And we like rose to those expectations. We haven't lost a game within MQC all year, besides openers. So we're really like proud of that, and that's kind of the goal we had going into this year. And one more best of three to finish out that record. So we're just excited to, yeah, finish that out.
Best of three against the winner of another best of three between BU and RPI. What's your game plan for both of those teams? And is there a team you'd rather be playing?
Well, we're gonna watch for sure. I know whoever wins, it's gonna be a different approach either way. I think if BU wins, we're really focusing on the beater game, countering their really strong point, which is the beater game, and also their athletic chasers as well. They're much quicker than RPI in my opinion. Like they have some very fast chasers, to watch out for, and they play a really well organized offense. And then if it comes to RPI, we have to do what this team does best, which is just get big and get physical. And we know we're good at. We have keeper talent like me, Brady, Michael, who are willing to hit. We have up top chasers who are amazing at hitting as well, Caitlin and Isabel. So if it's RPI, we're preparing to like lock down, play hard defense. If it's BU, we're probably looking at a more tactical thing. And that's not to say we have to do. We're still gonna have to hit if it's either way. But I think it's just like that's our mindset going into it. So
Absolutely.
in terms of who I'd rather face,
Yeah. Or do you
I
have a
think we're really
prediction?
comfortable beating RPI. We know what we're gonna get with RPI. We've like I just think we like BU is a little bit more of a question mark because we've only played them once with this new team. So it's kind of like a more of an unknown, and I think we're really more comfortable playing against RPI because we have probably like four like with this iteration of both rosters over the last 2 years, we've probably beaten them 5 times. Yeah.
BU and RPI have gone back and forth this season. Do you have a prediction on
Yeah.
which one's gonna be the one?
Prediction? Ooh, I think the weather is a big one. If it's a rainier game, I see that helping RPI a decent amount because that slows down BU's passing. And I think RPI is a little more physical. If shots are falling for like Vivi and Ben, like I could see RPI, making a move here. I think I'm actually going to predict RPI. I am actually. I think it might be windy, it might be cold, it might just get into the nitty gritty. We might see some. I think they have an advantage in the seeker game with ad. We'll see, but Martin, I like a great seeker. Defensively like they're really good defensive seeking. They had some good moves. I was snitched. I was flagged. I watched Andres be flagged. Sorry, I was SR. In BU's game versus Rutgers, and Martin was making some great moves. So I don't think it's a clear thing there in the seeker game, but I would give an advantage to add as well there.
All right. For Brandeis, what is one player or multiple players that you want to shout out going into this weekend? Who do you think is going to make an impact?
I'm gonna shout out Hannah Rucker. On like I think her like defensive impact is just like impossible to measure on this team. Like she's just an absolute beast, like on hoops and behind hoops. And like I think she's only a sophomore, so the offensive like positioning is still developing on this team. But I think that'll be really good. The other person I wanted to shout out, I think look for Michael to really excel this tournament. I think Michael Jong, my roommate and teammate, I think he's going to play really well. I think him and Isabel are a really really strong duo. So both him and Isabel, I think they're going to really exceed on offense. If we've been playing like we're practicing, those two are like really clicking together well. So I think that'll be a good duo as well.
All right, awesome. Yeah, cannot understate the value of a strong defensive pair at the top.
Yeah.
And then what's one player or group of players on either one of the teams that you want to call out before these games?
Call out.
Yeah.
Ooh, man, I'm gonna call out Zach on BU. I think he juked me like 3 times in the last time we played. And I want him to try to take me on again. Like I'm always whenever there's a player that's more agile than me, I'm really trying to get them. Like that's always up top. You have that keeper, just ball carrier one-on-one matchup, and he beat me multiple times in the last game. So I kind of want my get back. I want to get that successful wrap. Get that tackle in.
It's always fun
He's
playing against a shifty
quick.
player. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. It's just like you.
Yeah. Well, no, I learned how to play defense because Kieran would have me hard mark you in games, and then you were getting around me every time. So I went,
Yeah,
nah,
yeah.
this ends today.
No, also Ford season helped with that a lot. Just like going against people that are way more athletic than both of us. But
Yeah.
for
All
sure.
right. So watch out, Zach. Eli's coming for
Yeah.
you.
Whoa. Hopefully no cards. That's my if there's a personal goal question, that's my personal goal. I'm coming off a red card in my last game from some reckless play. So not straight red, to be honest. Definitely I'm trying to keep it clean this weekend.
Yeah,
That's my main.
redemption arc incoming. And then last question, what would it mean for Brandeis, especially team with all these seniors, to win a D1 championship for the Massachusetts Conference?
Like so much. Like we won D2 2 years ago. Last year we fell short to Harvard. And they're coming off the national championship. We didn't really have like hopes going into that game. We didn't really have all of our players either. This is what it's built to. Even like all of last year, we were like, next year's our year. And like this year, it's like this has been the expectation the entire time. So it would mean so much. It would just be like in front of the home crowd. Hopefully, like we're gonna have tons of people out there watching. It's our senior day. It's my last game at Brandeis. I've played probably like I don't know, upwards of 20, 25 games here at like these fields. It's gonna mean so much. Like there's a good chance I'm crying. I don't know. Like it's a lot, and I'm really just like thankful to have this team and have this community, and I just want to I don't know, go out with a win.
All right. Yeah. Well, good luck this weekend, and thank you so much for sitting down with me.
Thanks, Daniel.
Thank you again for that, Daniel and Eli. I guess we'll start with a little shout out or.
I'll take the compliments where I can get them.
Yeah.
I'm happy that Eli knows who I am. That's crazy. Going into the sport just last year, hearing about like the best players in MQC in the country, Eli's name came up all the time. To actually have him know who I am is kind of a little surreal. I will say it's easy to surprise someone when no one knows who you are. I'm expecting a tough game. I'm expecting Eli to be ready for me this time. I'm excited for it. It's gonna be a good matchup. I'm happy to play a little bit against Eli.
Yeah, I can see it in your face a little bit, just like the anticipation of it. And I remember in that last game Brandeis played against BU, you got around me a few times. You swept past me on a fast break, and then I made we'll call it a legal tackle because it was called a legal tackle. If you watch that back, I left my feet completely to tackle you. We have our eyes on you, Zach. We're not letting you get past us this time, or at least we're going to try our very best.
You win some, you lose some. Eli got called on the tackle on me. It was borderline. I think he probably got me side, but I'll take the card there, lose a card somewhere else. I'll even out in the end.
I think maybe this is a little biased, but I think there's no team that has like more, I don't know, in terms of grit and determination and want to win these games. I think you said it yourself a little bit. Like, I feel like Brandeis was in the position last year that BU is in now.
Yeah.
Where it's like they think next year is really when they're going to take that leap. Well, we're here. And we've had the expectations, and I mean, the amount of like late night conversations that I've had with this team that we've had together where we sit down and we're like, this is the year where we win it all. And I mean, just like Eli, tears will be flowing. I mean, tears will be flowing because 7 hours, 9 hours a week for the last 2 years is what this has been amounting to.
Going through the interviews and our talk today, it's shocking to me how every conversation about Brandeis has been, oh, look at their depth. They're going to be fresh. They're going to have great depth. Brandeis is the best skilled team, most talented team in these three by so much. Their top line is the best out of any of them. Their second line is probably the best out of any of them as well. Brandeis is a great team up and down the roster. It's not, everything else being equal, you play Brandeis on any day, Brandeis is probably going to win that game. Take out the 2 games before, take out all of that. Brandeis is the best team in MQC. They're going to have a deep push in nationals. I think that needs to be said. They're a really, really talented team, and you guys are going to really make a big splash this year.
I think this weekend will just be the start for Brandeis. Is like, I don't know, not revenge tour, but just like you just gotta watch out for them.
Yeah.
Like they're gonna hoist that D1 trophy, and then that's not gonna be it for them. They're gonna be very, very poised to make a deep run at nationals, and honestly, I think they can. I don't think that many other college teams can put out such a like nasty top line for chasers and beaters.
I think the danger with all this conversation, and maybe it's a compliment, maybe it's a great tactic, Zach, but it is.
Why not both?
We're good. Sure, that's even better. But we don't want to be lulled into a false sense of confidence
That's
here.
true.
And I think that is one thing that could really take us out. Is
Yeah.
And I was worried about it in practice this week. I've been worried about it, and worry is not the thing that you want going in games. I'd much rather play from the underdog. I'd much rather play from the no one thinks we're gonna win, so we're gonna win anyway, than everyone thinks we're gonna win, so now we just have to play to expectations. It's harder personally for me to be able to play like that, and I think Brandeis, we're the smallest school. We're the smallest school outside of Emerson. Outside of Emerson, but we're the smallest school going into these games, and we want to have that mentality, and that's where a lot of I think our confidence comes from. So I'm hoping none of that is being kind of burdened upon maybe from this conversation. So
I will say, for good or for bad, one thing I've seen about Brandeis, y'all love playing from behind. You love playing from behind. I watched that RPI Brandeis game. Went down early, you pulled back, you played well. I watched that UVA game, end of regionals. You went down, but you
don't talk about the UVA game.
You played great throughout the second half, throughout the end of that first half. There's something about Brandeis being down a couple scores that really puts you guys into gear.
So maybe to the quad ball world, doubt Brandeis a little bit so they can show you why not.
I like that. I like that a lot. Come back, kids. That's always a good narrative. I think that's pretty much been our segment here. Ryan, I think I know your prediction, but what's your prediction for these games?
We can
Who's
jump
gonna
into some
win and how many?
predictions. I think BU and RPI. I think it goes to a game 3. I think that's just such a competitive nature that whoever loses that first game will not lose that second game. So I think it goes to a game 3, and I think just because we heard RPI has a bit of a smaller roster this weekend, I think BU takes it in 3 games, and I think that's because of their beaters, Cleo and Will, and their whole beater depth, I think, is probably can outplay RPI, and then also their chasers like you, Zach, and Ian, like we heard about, and Evan, and everybody, honestly, especially Zoe and HB also, because they don't get talked about enough, I think.
Absolutely
not at all.
Absolutely not.
And then moving on to, as I predicted at BU Brandeis matchup, I think Brandeis takes that one. BU can win a game. I think they could win the first game just because maybe they're, as I think I talked about this earlier, maybe they're a little more hyped, maybe they're in quad ball, the headspace. Brandeis might be, since they won't have played a game, they might be a little flat coming out. So I think BU could maybe surprise and take game 1, but I think if that happens, there's no chance Brandeis lets them win. I think Brandeis takes this, not easily, of course, but I think it'll be a fun matchup whoever Brandeis plays. But I think Brandeis will be our D1 champion in the MQC.
Yeah, I'm gonna casually agree with most of what Ryan said. I do think it'll be BU in 2. I would predict BU in 3 initially, but no Ben is a really big loss. There's just no way around it. Even if the replacement is really good, even if they really are very solid, it's you're losing your captain there. And I can see BU taking a game off of us. I think BU almost took a game off of us at our last round robin that we played. I don't think they will. I think Brandeis will win in 2. With that being said, I think BU will score, honestly, probably over 100 points in both of those games, especially if they catch. These games are going to be close. They're going to be very competitive. I think BU is a very good team, and hopefully we don't take them too lightly.
Yeah, if you're coming to Brandeis to watch some quad ball, you're going to see some good quad ball. There won't be any blowouts. There'll be nice tight games. They'll be really fun to watch.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
Cool. That's been our show.
Yeah.
Thank you everyone for tuning in. Thank you very much, Zach, for making it all the way out here.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
Of course. And from Emerson, we are MQC Offbroom on mic. Have a great week. We look forward to seeing you soon.